All right. Good afternoon to those of you on the East Coast. Good afternoon also to those of you on the West Coast. I'm your host, Brandon Choi, host and co-creator of Movers and Shakers Unlimited, and I'm joined by.
Jerome Bourgeois, co-creator, co-founder of Movers and Shakers Unlimited. What's up, man? So you hanging out in
What's up? Yeah,
Annapolis?
what's up? As you can hear, it's a little bit of background noise, so I apologize for that. But as you saw from the title, it is live here in Annapolis, Comic Con 2022. Um, but as always, every Saturday, try to make it a point to do an episode of This Week in Review, trying to give you the news bits that have made the rounds in the entertainment industry. We know things get busy for you guys. So, of course, we have to give you kind of a Spark Notes version of some of the things, the goings on, if you will, that has happened over the course of the past week. So, with that out of the way, let's go into a couple of minutes as we always do. If you're watching this live, thank you guys so much. But if you guys aren't watching it live and you're catching it as an archive episode, make sure that you're using that hashtag TWnRMNSU. So that's This Week in Review, Movers and Shakers Unlimited. And then additionally, if you want to check out some of our content and be a supporter of ours, you can be a Patreon supporter by checking out the link just down below that I provided to you guys. And with that out of the way, of course, I want to give a shout out to Joelle Bourgeois, who is a Patreon supporter of ours. Shout out to Joelle. Shout out. All right.
Shout out
Uh,
Joel, sister. Go ahead.
all
Yes.
right.
Yes.
So,
And
Jerome,
joining us
we had.
episode 52. We're episode
Oh,
52 now.
there you go. There you go. Well, we've had quite a few things that have happened over the course of this week, Jerome. So let's hit the ground running. We'll start first with the first story that we had this week, and that is none other than filmmaker Sean Levy. News hit that he will, in fact, be directing the third installment of the Deadpool franchise, which will be the first of the installments of that franchise that, which we come to understand will be a part of the MCU. So, Jerome, what are your thoughts on Levy taking the reins of the upcoming Deadpool? And yeah, just curious, based on the prior collaborations that we've had between Sean and Ryan.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I think it'll work. I think that's probably the main reason why he's coming on board. Obviously, I think David Leitch, he's busy doing. I think he's working on some action movie with Will Smith or something, or he's. Like I said, a lot of these directors who actually are work on the Deadpool franchise. Obviously, it elevates their career even more. So then they do other projects, or for whatever reason. Because I know Tim Miller, he did was it Terminator Dark Fate after the first Deadpool. So yeah, and I think it also works. I think it's fine for this franchise too, because Deadpool's an unconventional character with unconventional action and comedy and stories, and it's really he breaks the fourth wall, and these movies are kind of ridiculous, but they're fun, they're action packed, and and they're and they're compelling at the same time. So I think you can like for this franchise specifically, you can definitely get away with having a different director do every film and also have their own take on it. It doesn't feel like it needs to be one director wrote and directed everything and put his stamp on it. You have the same writers at least, so that's cool. So I feel like it'll be consistent.
Indeed, yeah.
So, but yeah, I feel like Ryan Reynolds, he's really the one who spearheaded this franchise and really made it happen, and pushed for it to be done right. So, as long as he's part of it, and you have the same writers, and like I said, he believes in Sean Levy and that he could do it. And Sean Levy's done some pretty good movies before. I love Free Guy. I thought that was good. I haven't seen the Adam Project, but I know he did he's done other movies before. Was it that Shaun of the Dead? I think he did that one. But yeah, he knows how to balance comedy and action, and he's worked with Ryan Reynolds. So I think that's also, and regardless, I think that's very important for a director. If you have a working relationship with an actor and you guys know you already know how each other works, the chemistry is important, and they obviously like working with each other. I think this was the third project they're working together with. They're collaborating on, so it makes sense.
For sure. And I guess the thing that really really telling in this situation is, what we have with the aesthetic. I mean, we have Free Guy and we have their other collaboration, which is the Adam Project, and maybe, and I still have yet to see the Adam Project. I've heard great things, but at least with Free Guy, I don't know if you've seen it, Jerome, but there are a lot of
Yeah, man, that
things
was
that
like one of my
kind of.
top 10, bro.
I'm about to say that's right. You know what? That's right. But
I
yeah,
just
like there are a lot of
yeah.
elements that kind of cross pollinate into the kind of style of Deadpool with all the various things that they mix into there, pop culture wise. So, the fact that he's able to make that work and make it entertaining, speaks volumes of what can possibly happen with Deadpool, the new Deadpool. And don't get it twisted, yeah, we have those folks that are directing these installments, but the real power lies with Ryan Reynolds, who's a producer. Because I mean, in the same way that you have the Mission Impossible franchise, with them having Tom Cruise kind of spearheading everything, they determine those stars in those particular franchises. They determine who they want as a creative team for each of those franchises and the installments of those franchises. So it'll be interesting to see what he does with this. As he said, as Ron Reynolds said in his Twitter post, which revealed that he would be directing it. This will be a trilogy, if you will, of their collaborations together. Whether it's Free Guy or with Adam Project and now with this film. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with it. But did you have any last thoughts before we move on to our next story?
Oh yeah, actually I made a mistake. I think yeah, I don't yeah, I said that he did Shaun of the Dead. No, I confused that with that's Edgar Wright. But regardless, the idea that he does action comedy pretty well, really well, I think that's gonna work, like you were saying. But also, it's also refreshing and it's great to know that Kevin Feige and Disney, like they understand the success of Deadpool and how well those movies did already. They don't need to be changed or anything, and the idea that's going to be reinforced that those films will remain R-rated, and obviously the branding will probably be different. It will probably so you can know it's an R-rated film as opposed to like Disney or Marvel. But the thing is, I still think, you still got to have. I'm sure they're going to have some sort of Marvel branding on it, but maybe it won't be exactly Marvel Studios. Maybe it'll be like Marvel Studios Adult. I feel like they almost need to do that with some of these darker characters, and it'll probably end up on Hulu or something. I would hope. You would think, because I know these Netflix shows that. I mean, I haven't looked at Disney Plus yet, but I think they're on Disney Plus, and I think some people are like, you need to put them on Hulu or something. If it's going to be darker, not the same. The same tone as the other films, but it's just great that they're continuing, and like they're going to continue with the same style and tone, and I'm just excited to see like if they're going to somehow incorporate it. I'm sure they're going to incorporate it into the MCU, but like how are they going to do that? Like, are they going to bleep out the cuss words or whatever, or maybe there'll be some cameos from the MCU now. I mean, you had X-Men cameos in the first two, so. And also, where are they going to take the story, with Cable and Domino and X-Force? I mean, I feel like that's what they were originally trying to do. Is I remember they were trying to make a X-Force film, and obviously with the merger, with the acquisition of 20th Century Fox, that obviously changed a lot of stuff. But hey, that also would be very exciting and intriguing to see. It transition into that type of film. So, but I'm excited.
For sure. And switching gears from one story to a story of, I guess you could say, an impressive influx of resources. So switching gears to a story that made the rounds this week, and that is none other surrounding A24. So this week there was news that hit the rounds, or say made the rounds, if you will, that A24 will be receiving an injection of funds of in the ballpark of 225 million, in order to fund its upcoming slate. So in order to continue its growth. So Jerome, you hear these thoughts, considering the films that are under the banner of A24, and them receiving this influx of resources, of funds in order to continue that. What are your thoughts? Because they have a pretty good track record.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was pretty amazing. It's interesting. Yeah, it's funny because I mean, I don't know all the films that they've released, even though most of the ones I keep seeing that, and I mean, they have good movies that they released are usually pretty much, they're low budget independent films. I know they also are in, what is it? They also have TV shows. I mean, they're also behind Euphoria, and Euphoria was really good. I mean, I haven't finished seeing it, but like, yeah, movies like Uncut Gems. I liked, what was it? I thought Zola was pretty decent, was pretty good. But yeah, Minari, a lot of Oscar contenders, independent films, and films that take chances. That's good that you have like an independent studio doing that in addition to, like a Fox Searchlight or, Screen Gems or some of the bigger studios that have their smaller art house subsidiaries. But I was just still surprised. I was like, wow. I mean, there must have been. I mean, like I said, I haven't looked at like how much money all these movies and the shows have been making, but they obviously must be profitable. I mean, it is something. It does go back to also what we were discussing before in other episodes of the idea of like, yeah, if you keep the budget pretty low, you have a better chance, obviously, of making a profit. And if you're taking chances and being creative, and they also attach A-list talent to their projects, so that's pretty cool. And also with the Oscar, a lot of the Oscar buzz and wins from a lot of their films. I mean, I remember Minari. I mean, got nominated a bunch. Now you see Stephen Yeun, and he's gonna be the Jordan Peele film, Nope. So I mean, but still, I was just like, it is interesting to see like them, A24 get that much money. I mean, that means if it's 225 million for about 10%, that's what the article says. That means the valuation of the company is around like 2.25 billion. So that's pretty impressive. I mean, and I know we were seeing other stories of this, in this magnitude, with like the Russo brothers or LeBron James production company, or I think Reese Witherspoon, she sold hers or a stake in her company, and Will Smith's, Overbrook Entertainment. So it's interesting seeing that with like the actors production companies and like how they're getting investments or selling their mini studio, I'd say production companies. But I mean, A24 is actually kind of like like a mini studio, like independent studio itself. So it's interesting to see them get some more money, and it'll make them more competitive too. So yeah, it just shows it's like, even, you don't have to be a tech company necessarily or something, do something different. You can just make, really good content. There's still a big appetite for it. I feel like, I wonder though, if maybe the play is like eventually, I guess they're hoping that, I mean, I would think, like I'm speculating, I would think that eventually, like they're hoping that, these investors are hoping that one of these bigger companies is just going to acquire them. I mean, like Amazon did for, MGM or something like that. So, I mean, that's worth it if they're going to spend, but Amazon spent, I think, around like 8 billion or 9 billion or something to acquire MGM. So there's definitely upside. So it's just cool. It's interesting seeing some of the smaller independent studios get this type of valuation. So I don't know what your thoughts are.
I'll say this, it's always great to see, oftentimes when we've, done different stories on the show and we talk about, sometimes we have those instances where, for whatever reason, maybe because of, the how big or how much of a household name the studio is, that, they're receiving resources, and, whether you agree with it or not, of whether it was, deserved based on, their track record and things that they put out, it's is sometimes can be questionable, but at least, here, you have an independent company that their track record speaks for itself. I mean, you listed off, many of the films that they were behind, and that's just the tip of the iceberg of some of the ones that they've done. So it's great to see that in a situation like this, that with organization that's already demonstrated what it's capable of is being rewarded by, with funds to be able to reward us with potentially more awesome films. So,
and I'll definitely, but like I said, it's just like I said, I feel like for any upcoming filmmakers, it's like, or anyone's trying to make, make a movie or a show, it's like keep that budget low. Because I know a lot of the films they make, they keep I think like Zola, they spent like $5 million or something. So I mean, I don't know how well it did, but still, if you could show that you're making a profit, you're gonna get people to reinvest and want to invest in your company. So,
and add to that to make it, critically acclaimed as well. So it doesn't hurt.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I don't know if all of them. Yeah, but I'm just saying, regardless, though, like, it just needs to. There needs to be a profit. You need to turn a profit because it's a business too. It's not just the art form. If you want to just make an expensive home movie that you don't show anybody, then yeah, you're doing it for the art, or you don't care if you make money. But if you want to keep making films and make and make TV shows or any type of project, there has to be you have to turn a profit with your project. So, but that's good to hear. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see what other projects they have because I know they do some. I mean, they have some horror films too. So. They mix it up. But anyway. So next story. You want to tee it off?
Yeah, switching gears to our next story. As you can see here from the photo that we have here, we have a photo of all the upcoming installments for the Warner Brothers franchise. And news has made the rounds that this week that many of these installments will actually be pushed back. So in a story out of Deadline, it is already released that many of these projects would be moving back. Just to go down the line, we have DC League of Super Pets, moving from May to July. The Flash moving from November to June of next year. Aquaman moving from December to March of next year, and then Shazam was moving from the summer, which is June, into the winter of this year, so December. So Jerome, you hear this news, and what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it was somewhat of a disappointment at first because I was anticipating watching. I wanted to see the Flash because the Flash is looking pretty cool. I mean, it looks like it'd be awesome, but if they need to take more time, like it says in the article, because of visual effects shots, and because if there's a buildup of, a lot of projects being done at the same time at these special effects houses, then it makes sense. Yeah, don't release it until it's it's done right. Like you don't want to rush it. I hate when it you can tell in some movies they've rushed the special effects or something. You're like, what happened? Like, come on, like do it right. You have the budget. But yeah, I mean, I guess you could say it also spreads out, how these films. So you have over 2 years, so it gives Warner Brothers some more time to have its films, make more money and not compete as much. But I mean, Marvel's releasing well at least now they're supposed to still be releasing like at least I think 4 films this year. So I mean they could do it. But like I said, if it's not right, if it's not, ready, then yeah, you gotta push it back. But I mean, I've been wanting to see the next Shazam also, so that's cool. But I guess it is kind of cool how if you think about it. I mean, Black Adam and Shazam, the sequel to Shazam, they're coming out the same year, and they're obviously, in the same. Obviously, they've been in the same world, but they are directly related, because they're, they fight each other and they have their own stories. So you might as well, hey, if you're going to try and keep 2 this year, it's great how it works out that way, right? It's just I was really anticipating seeing The Flash. I really want to see that because it's like, we're supposed to have, 2 Batmans in there, Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck, and the whole timeline, Flashpoint storyline, and, how that transitions into, I guess, which Batman is left in the TCU. Because because what Michael Keaton's cast in the Batgirl movie, yeah, I mean the other films, was it Wonka and that aren't DC related? I mean that makes sense if if it has to do if you need to release it during the holidays because if it's holiday themed, like that makes sense to me. I'm not gonna. I don't. You know, I wasn't even looking out for another Willy Wonka film. And what's the other one? Oh yeah, Aquaman. I mean, Aquaman 2023. The League of Super Pets. I haven't even watched the first. Didn't it? Yeah. Or is this a new? I haven't even watched the other film that was related. But I remember hearing about this one. So. And
it looks a little. It's cute. It looks a little.
No. I mean, to me, it's not like the big. I'm not like, oh, I need to see this now. Like, whatever. If they gotta release it whenever, that's fine. And the Meg was pretty good. I enjoyed the Meg, but I wasn't like, oh, I need to see a sequel. So it's like if that gets pushed back, like I don't really care. It's not bothering me. The only ones I really cared about were like the Flash and, I mean, the Aquaman sequel. Yeah, I'll see a sequel, but I'm still not as hyped. Like I need to see that so badly. Like no, I mean, but I will watch it. But Black Adam, at least that's different, and it's supposed to be. And Shazam, I like Shazam a lot, so I get I'm glad we could see that. I'm just really glad they're not doing the same day and day release, whatever. Yeah, the whole release. The simultaneous release with HBO Max, because that's gonna definitely mess with the box office. Like it has. Like I mean, like I said, we already talked about this. Like the Suicide Squad should have done way better at the box office, but what are you gonna do? So, yeah, I mean. Like I said, if they have their reasons, they need to complete the films and they need to do the special effects, get that done properly. They need more time. I'm all for it. And they already had the Batman released this year. And that was pretty good. So, hey, they're starting off strong. Because to me, because this year that was the first good movie or great movie this year, the Batman, in my opinion. So.
Okay, well, fair. So, I mean, out of the releases that we have here, right? So we have what? We have The Flash. We have what is it? Black Adam. We have Aquaman. Put it back up here. We have a good deal of releases that are on the way, and I would say out of all of these that I'm actually looking forward to, it would probably be The Flash. But in that same regard, because I'm looking forward the most to The Flash, I'm a little nervous about it because typically when your anticipation for it is at a certain level, there's a potential for it to disappoint you. So in that respect, it'll be interesting to see what comes of Aquaman, because I mean, at least right now, not many people are really talking about that installment. And as I think of those instances where we've had a whole slate of superhero films, and I can't help but think of the MCU. I remember when we had that whole slate. I guess you could say I guess you would say it's what is it, Phase 2, that included Winter Soldier. When they were promoting that film, not a whole lot of people were talking about it. And then at the end of the day, it ended up being the best of the bunch. So, it'll be interesting to see what comes of these releases, because not a whole lot of people are talking about Aquaman. So, there's a potential that maybe Aquaman may be the dark horse and may end up being the best out of the bunch, even though I'm most looking forward to The Flash and Black Adam, actually, those two films. So I don't know what your thoughts on it, or your opinion on it.
I don't know about it. I mean, maybe. That's a good idea to have low expectations. They're not even thinking about it. But I know people weren't that excited for the Batman, and then they're like, oh, it's so great. I'm like, I think it's hard to go wrong with Batman, but
it's also Batman, though. Like,
yeah,
Batman, but Captain America is not Batman.
But I think there's more expectations for Batman to be good. Like, you can't get away from it. That's what I'm saying. Like, there were a lot of expectations for that, and like a lot of people are saying, I don't think it's the best one. I think to me it's like the third or fourth best one, but some people are like, it's tied with The Dark Knight, so that's what I'm saying. Like, I know some people are like, I'm not really, or they're like, whatever. But I'm just saying, like, even with that, for it to still do well and people are still excited to go see it again, that's also pretty impressive to at least hold its own. But I don't know. Honestly, I'd be like it's good that they're doing these more. They have more of these solo films coming out, these solo sequels. That's great. But I mean, I kind of want to get back to Justice League. And like, which Batman are they going to use though? I have a feeling Michael Keaton might be the new Batman in the Justice League series.
Actually, what they've been saying that they would have him.
I guess he's going to be back or something, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like, you know, they had to really be, DC really had to be the first one to explore the whole multiverse you know, idea, because they kind of were forced to with all their casting, you know, decisions and how things change and all the different projects they have, I feel like. But yeah, I'm waiting for that, because if you do look at it on the other side when it comes to like Marvel, I'm hearing they're not really going to have an Avengers movie for a while. So, you know, they're really trying to just like give you individual films and some sequels coming up. Yeah. But I mean, I haven't heard anything about an Avengers movie coming out anytime soon. So it's like, if DC can hype up these other characters and really build towards a really good Justice League movie that they don't need to release again, that's like 4 hours, you know what I'm saying? Then maybe they might, you know, they can like really get some anticipation for their team up films, because that's where they were lacking. But yeah, I mean, like, my thing is, in the end, are they, you know, am I going to enjoy these films? Are they good? Are they, you know, done well, not rushed? You know, that's really all that matters. And I know DC was struggling with that with their with some of their DCEU films, but now I feel like they're kind of learning, because the ones that have done well, like obviously you could see they have they're giving them sequels, like Shazam, that did do well and people did like that. I mean, even Aquaman, you know, I didn't think Aquaman was like so amazing, but it was pretty good. It was decent. So they're getting a sequel. What's the other one? And then Black Adam, I mean, you know, Shazam did well, but also The Rock is part of Black Adam. So, you know, that's a new character. We'll see how that goes. But maybe now they're really trying to build up these other characters. And when they do have another Justice League film, whenever that is, you know, it'll probably be more satisfying.
Exactly, whenever hopefully. That is.
My thing is just like, you know, just make a really good movie that you're gonna release, and don't try to make up for it with like, oh, let's make it 4 hours, because like, I like the Zack Snyder cut, but it's like, it was 4 hours. I mean, come on, it's like, it was like a miniseries. It's like, you know, just make the movie. You don't see Marvel's not doing that. They're like, oh yeah, our movie was okay, so let's like make it 4 hours so you can now like it. Like, come on, yeah. I think they need to just try and do it well the first time. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're doing a TV series or something, you know, or a miniseries, if that's your intention. But yeah, I'm looking forward to these films. You know, just got to wait a year now for something.
I mean, like I said, I'm looking forward to them as well, but it's really going to be dependent upon. I'm just kind of nervous based on the expectations that I have for these films, and how the expectation may shape, you know, how I feel about the film at the end of the day. And I remember when I saw the first Aquaman, that I didn't have any expectations going in, and because I didn't have any expectations going in, you know, it was a great deal better than what I anticipated, you know, it would be. So that's the only reason why I bring that up, because I remember, you know, the anticipation level of Captain America: The First Avenger, up to the second one. And at that time, you know, we had some other installments coming out. We had I'm trying to remember. Thor, The Dark World, and
Iron Man 3.
And, you know, we see how that played out. You know, of course, you know, Iron Man being Iron Man, everyone was, you know, into that, getting that third installment. But if we're, you know, to size all of them up out of that installment, that, you know,
But also Guardians of the Galaxy came out during that time too.
That did too.
People might say Winter Soldier. I mean, that's great, but like, Guardians of the Galaxy was great too. So I mean, you can
still. But again, also,
no expectations.
No expectations.
C-listers, D-listers.
So yeah,
that became A-listers. But you know, I mean, no, I mean that happens. But the thing is,
so it'd be interesting to see if that happens again.
I get that, but at the same time, like, if it's just done well, like, you know, if it's great, it's great. Like, like I said, I don't know if everyone was checking for a new Batman film, and I mean, based on people I've talked to, not everybody. There's some people I talked to, they think it's just as great as Dark Knight. So I'm just saying, like, in regards to Batman, I mean, Batman versus Superman, there's a lot of people who didn't like. I mean, I wasn't the biggest fan of that film. but there's some super fans who like Batman no matter what. But that didn't get the love that like the Batmans get. I'm just saying. So it can go either. I've seen both, but I've seen like the hype that's built up either way. And yes, the lower the expectations, the better. But you can't deny. You can't get away from expectations for like a sequel sometimes if it once the first one does well. Like you just can't. It's just gonna happen. The only reason the Flash has more expectations than some of the others is because Batman's gonna be in it. And yes, that's true. But I mean, it looks it could. I mean, it has to me. It still has a good chance of, still fulfilling those if it's, if they learn their lessons, at DC. So I don't know. I mean, unless you mean like because they're delaying it and this is an excuse. I mean, who knows? But
I mean,
sometimes people delay stuff.
The excuse of the FX, if you have any excuse, I feel like that would be the most, the one that I would be the best excuse, the one I'd be satisfied with, where I know that, you're taking your time with it. I guess also additionally in talking about DC films versus the MCU, we recently, we've gotten, the last few outings, we've gotten some pretty good DC films. I'm just hoping that there is, at this point now, a plan of what is going to be done from here on out going forward.
But also the ones that recently, not all of them were in the same universe too, because
I know, I get that,
and that's also another thing they're doing too. But that's another thing they're doing
too, where like it just seems like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, where like it just seems like things keep getting thrown at the wall. Some things, stick and then they work, and then other things don't, and then we kind of have this kind of like, jumbled consortment of like all these various films. And if you're going to decide to just do individual films, and I know they seem to be going back and forth on it, like, oh, we're doing individual films, oh, we want to actually do a shared universe, oh, we want to do a multiverse. Like it doesn't matter, whatever you decide to do, just stick with what it is that you're going to do, and live with the results versus kind of going back and forth and on what you're deciding to do. It seems like they still haven't really made a decision of what they're going to do with their universe, in my opinion. But
I mean, I think they do have an idea. The thing is, like, some things didn't work, or actors maybe didn't want to continue, and then they want to keep making films, like I said, with Batman or whatever, and just continue, making those movies in a different direction. I mean, I do kind of give them respect for like making film, like I said, like Joker, like doing a film like Joker, or even the Batman, where it's like, all right, this is just gonna be totally separate. This is like a prequel, or this is gonna be a different take on this character, and that's fine. It has nothing to do with the other universe, and I think that's cool, because some of these films should. I mean, no matter if you're in a shared universe or you're a sequel or whatever, you should make your movie the best movie possible, and it should be self-contained. Like, you shouldn't have to see anything else, and I think that's fine.
Agree.
I just think what the main issue is, just because of some of the actors not coming back, and they didn't get the best response because they didn't know what they were doing with some of those movies. They were just rushing stuff out. They had to readjust for the DCE, like their shared universe. So it's like, I still think you can see that they're going with those same actors and same films. Obviously, Aquaman, they're keeping Jason Momoa, Gal Gadot for Wonder Woman, even if the last one didn't do as well, or people didn't like as much. Shazam, and obviously Flash have the same actor. So I feel like it's only just we'll see what happens with Superman. I mean, if they're going to recast him or whatever. But I think the main thing was just Batman, because like if Ben Affleck didn't want to come back, or if he's coming back just for Flash, and then they're going to switch it up with Michael Keaton. I mean, whatever. If that's it, they can make it work. They can make it work. But to your point, I just think, they should continue. Stick. I just think stick with the cast unless there's a actual reason. Like,
I would just say,
but I think that's all it is. I think that's all it was.
Just stick with the plan that you have. Like, I'm cool if you decide just to do solo films, but make it clear that that's what you're doing, instead of going back and forth of, oh, we're doing. It seems like every single few months, like, there's a different strategy in place of, okay, now we're doing solo films. Now we're focusing on doing, films that are not, in the same universe. Now we're actually doing films that are in the same universe. Now we're doing this multiverse, like, plot. Like, I would just say,
But they've only done two. I feel like they've only done two that weren't in the universe recently. I mean, it was just Joker and the Batman.
I mean, everything else was Joker. We have Joker, the Batman, but I'm saying, even with in a weird way, you could arguably say, I mean, yes, you have some of the same cast members, but at least how they were promoting it. I'm also
What do you mean for
basing
the
it on
Suicide
how
Squad?
you're,
Or no?
yeah, how they're
No, but that's
promoting it.
but it's the same
So,
act, but it's still in the same universe though. I mean, it just switched up.
so
I just feel
I
like
don't
they've only
know.
done it with two. But the thing is, if you think about the only ones they've done this with were like Batman and the Joker, like their biggest, hero and villain that did well and they were low budget. So it's kind of like I feel like that's a separate thing. But the thing is how they label, like how they need to label it, I guess, a certain way with their branding. So it's like, okay. But then they're doing stuff at HBO Max. But then, no, I'll tell you where it got confusing for me is the Batgirl thing. Because it's like, oh, is Batgirl going to be in that world? And then when they said Michael Keaton and J.K. Simmons, I'm like, wait a second. Now she's in that. So,
Exactly my
yes,
point. Just be clear.
No, that's
Just be
where I
clear.
agree with you. But I don't think, I just think maybe that's like more of a branding issue for those other films. So, I mean, but like this is the thing. If they were gonna incorporate the other characters and stuff or have it connect, they would have done that with the Batman or the Joker, and they didn't clearly. So, what are you gonna do? But my thing is, in the end, besides all that shit, just make good movies. Like make sure it's just done well. You're not just throwing it together and just trying to make them connect. That's my thing. And hey, that's why they got James Gunn to make the Suicide Squad great, and that's why it was great. So sometimes you got to steal some Marvel talent. Hey, that's how it is. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents. We can keep going on with this.
Yeah, we could go about this all day. But like I said, I'll just leave it. I'll just leave it at that. Like I love what we've gotten out of the last couple of films. That are based on DC characters. I just hope going forward that the strategy is very clear on what's going to be done instead of optics making it seem like you're going back and forth with those strategies.
Or at least the branding. Just brand it differently. Those movies differently. I think that's all they have to do, and they'll be fine.
For sure. All right. So as you saw in the title, I'm here unless you can, are unclear of all the noise that's that you're probably hearing. I'm here at Byzantium. Byzantium. Gosh, I apologize, guys. I'm mispronouncing the venue. Byzantium Center for Annapolis Comic Con. It is a one-day show, which is a good change of pace because many of the shows that I attend, and Jerome can attest to it too because he's tagged along. Is that many times minimum it's at least a weekend, or if not a weekend, it's almost a week long. Just to do the show justice. But sometimes it's always good to switch it up too, and to go to different shows. And with that being said, his show is no different in that it is more focused on comics, and there is. Versus what you may experience at other cons where there's a lot of focus on like media guests and things of that nature. So it was a good change of pace. It's as I said, it's only a day long, but there's plenty to do here. To strike your fancy over the course of a day. And I don't know if you guys had a chance to check out some of the things that have been going on. I tried to do my best, and I still have a couple of things to post up, but there were some cool things to check out at the show this today. Did you have any questions, Drum?
So it was just comics and what kind of stuff?
Yeah, I would say it's mostly comics, and artists or what have you. And I completely forgot. It's also run and was founded by Ben Penrod, friends of the show, Ben Penrod, who also founded, if you're not aware, Awesome Con, as well as Alaska Comic Con. He co-founded Alaska Comic Con, and he also does Southern Maryland Comic Con. And I will change my webcam, and as luck will have it, I actually have been over here. You can probably see him chatting because we're about to wrap up. It's him there. But this is the entrance, to the venue. Basically like a event room, if you will, of one of the churches that you have here in Annapolis. So, but no, like over the course of today, it started around 10 o'clock, and as I said, it's about to wrap up now. As a matter of fact, actually, no, it is wrapped up. Wrapped up at 4 o'clock. I know we were doing the show we're about 40 minutes in, so it had wrapped up while we were chatting on this episode. But yeah, no, there's definitely a whole bunch of awesome things here to see. Shout out to Eric Suggs Jr., who you guys saw a couple of episodes ago. I'm talking about his organization, Hard Ways Alliance. They were on tap here, so. Yeah, it was a lot of great things to check out here. If you are very much a stickler about your comic issues, this is definitely a place to check out. So
Definitely, man. Well, that's good. I'm glad you had some fun there. And yeah, I know what's the there's definitely some other stuff coming up, but yeah, that's cool.
oh no, for sure, and it's interesting. There are a couple of things that have hit the inbox over the course of this week, and I'll chat with you about it off stage, JB. But yeah, there's definitely some things coming, and it'll be interesting to see how that shapes the rest of the year, especially as things start to slowly and put emphasis on slowly start to change with the current
Moving
climate
back
as
up,
it
get back to
stands.
normal.
Yeah, current climate as it stands now. I know a lot of folks think that we are out of the gate, and or say we're out of what's the term or the
Yeah,
phrase. Yeah, we're not out of it yet. Let's put it that way. So
they're starting
we have
to
made
stop the mandates. So.
we have made some strides, but yeah, we're still not out
You
of
know
it
what's gonna
yet.
be
But
testament is like the flight, the mandate to wear your mask on the flight. That was supposed to expire. I think they extended that. I think the president
okay,
extended it. But
but still, it
I
also
was at a
means.
concert. I was at a few concerts, and like it depends on the concert. Some places they're like, yeah, man. So we'll see. You have
But
to tell me
still,
at
I'll
Comic
just
Con.
say, but still, even with that being said, it's good to see some of our shows, return after being away for, in
Yeah,
some cases
years.
2 years, in other cases a year and a half. So,
Yeah, definitely. Anyway,
but all right, so that's going to
sounds
wrap up
good.
this episode of This Week in Review. I
Mm-hmm.
want to thank you guys so much for hopping on and checking us out. Before I go, Jerome, I will punt it over to you. Can you tell folks where they can find you?
Yeah, you can find me at JW Bourgeois 21 on Twitter and Instagram. Also, if you want to check us out on Facebook or Instagram, well, Facebook or Twitter for Moves and Shakers, you can go to Move and Shake UNLTD. That's Move and Shake UNLTD. Yeah, we got it right there. And also on Instagram for Instagram at Movers Shakers Unlimited. Also, if you want to be a supporter of, so there you go, Movers Shakers Unlimited. If you want to be a supporter on Patreon, go to patreon.com/Movers Shakers Unlimited, like Brandon said earlier. But you can also see the link down here. If you want to support us, let us know about any things you want us to talk about. Also on YouTube, definitely subscribe. Like, subscribe. Click on the bell, and you'll get the feeds.
Getting those milestones, guys. We're almost there. So thank you guys so much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's youtube.com/Movers Shakers Unlimited. So yeah, definitely leave some comments, let us know what you want us to cover, what do you like when we what do you want us to go to and talk about, and we'll definitely do that. And yeah, I mean, this is part of the stuff that we like to talk about. Like we say, like Brandon and I say, we always talk about this anyway. So, you guys are going to hear about it. This is what we like doing. But yeah, man, I'll pass it back to you, and definitely we'll see you guys next week. But yeah, all right, peace out. I know we had a little technical difficulties, but we'll see you next weekend though.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I
there
realize
you
what's
go.
happening. There we go. There we go. So
Sorry
I
about that.
apologize, guys. Yeah. I apologize, guys. So yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Brandon Choi ENT on Twitter and Brandon Choi _ENT on Instagram. I'll try to make this quick, but yes, as I was mentioning before, thank you guys so much for checking out a lot of the stuff that we do have happening here on the channel. We try to do our best to provide behind the scenes of some of the events that we do, so you can kind of get a BTS feel of those shows, but also to share some information that might be helpful to you for those of you that are looking to go into those various fields or what it takes. But just as I mentioned, we're on pace to hit about 1,000 subscribers. So thank you guys so much for those that have subscribed. Just make sure to share it out to those that you feel would also enjoy a lot of that content as well. So to wrap things up, thank you guys so much for watching. Be safe out there, and see you soon. Peace.
So.